Hey, I'm Todd. Thanks for choosing to watch my video, and if you would subscribe it, like it, all that stuff, that'd be great. Otherwise, enjoy the video, and I hope it gives you the information you need and is helpful to you. Take care. Front brake pad replacement, front brake caliper replacement, and rotor replacement on a 2006 Chevrolet Aveo. Got the wheel off already. Everything is left to loosen. That's counterclockwise, right to tighten. Break the lug nuts loose on the ground, probably 19mm. A turn or two, break them loose and jack it up. You got some good metal underneath here. A nice pinch weld along here you can jack up on. Jack it up, use safety stands, protect yourself. And then jack it up the rest of the way, take the lug nuts off the rest of the way, and this is what you'll see. You can see it on the camera, there's some blackness, some hot spots. So this caliper's probably been sticking because that's not an issue on the other side. It looks good. Let's see if we can just take these off. Oh, yeah, these are pretty loose. Nice. But if needed, this is an impact driver. You hit this with a hammer and trying to turn while applying pressure counterclockwise, it should spring into action and pop these loose for you. So, but these are breaking loose okay. And then we'll see about getting the caliper off and getting it replaced. So you can turn the wheel to the left or the right to make it easier to work on as you need to. I like to get in here and collapse like this. Collapse the piston a little bit, then you can check your slides, which are good, but the brake pads are worn out on this side and the other side. They're probably 4mm left, so some kind of issues happened along with the hot spots, so we're going to replace it. But if you're checking your brakes, you want to collapse them, make sure that they collapse, make sure the piston collapses. Do it for both sides before you continue with your brake job, so you don't sit down with your brake pads, just think you're going to throw some pads and rotors on and the caliper doesn't function properly. So little tip there. Get back here and take off two caliper mounting bolts, probably 19mm, right there and right there, and we can just take the whole caliper assembly off. And then this is called the banjo bolt. So it has a banjo bolt and it has a washer, then it has the line, then another copper washer sandwiched in between there. So that's kind of what's going on there. We'll take this off, and here's a bleeder screw, which we would use. We'll use on the new calipers. So we'll take these two bolts off and get the caliper off. Alright, so I zipped off both bolts with my impact gun, 19mm. These bolts had a little bit of Loctite on them, so we could put some Loctite on if you have it available. Don't need to though. I'm sure the torque spec's going to be good enough. And this is a 12mm. We could zip this off when we're ready to put the new caliper on. We'll just leave this here though, ready. So I'll probably be using a 12mm and a gun as well. You could break this loose a little bit while it's mounted securely. It's a little trickier to do it when it's all loosey-goosey like this. So just break it loose a little bit and then snug it up so it doesn't leak. Alright, got the rotor off, not too bad. We will continue on. The details more in when we get the new caliper and we disassemble it and install the hardware if needed and brake pads. Alright, we got our brake hardware for our Chevy Aveo. That came with our brake pads for the Chevy Aveo and our brake caliper, which actually came with brake hardware, so we don't need to use it. It is just a friction fit. You just pull it out and push the new ones in place. So we got two brake pads with some squealer wear out indicators, and we have two without. So we'll put the brake pad with the squealer. The squealer will be closest to the bleeder screw. We've got some new copper washers. with the banjo bolt. So as I'm trying to install it in here, you can kind of see, and this one was kind of messed up, out of place when I started. So I'm going to actually disassemble this, take one bolt out, we can separate these two, and we'll do the assembly on the car. It's much easier. I way prefer that. These bolt sizes might be different, but just have yourself a nice set of sockets. Take the bottom bolt out, and we can swing this up. Separate it. Basically like that. So we get the rotor on, we'll mount this on and install the pads. So I got the new rotor on, Phillips screws in, probably 89 inch-pounds if you want to torque them down for any reason. These are coated rotors, there's no need to wash them. Very best is coated rotors, so we can just mount them on really nice. Otherwise your rotor is going to have a film of some kind for anti-rust, anti-corrosion, so you want to wash that off with some warm soap and water on both sides. Just wash down the whole rotor, and you can paper towel dry it somehow, and then mount it simply like this. It'll mount the caliper. Then we'll torque those down 70 foot-pounds. So there are two nubbies on here, so we got to get past that on the inside because it's probably hitting on this. So that's what we're looking at. I pull the old pads out and see if they have the nubbies. They do have the nubbies. So we'll just collapse the piston a little bit more maybe. Seems awfully collapsed though. Just a little encouragement there, tapping on it, and it's down. 20 foot-pounds for these bolts. Get ready with the bleeder screw, probably 10 millimeter. Get it open here, we're good to go. We just need to transfer the hose to the back of this. Give it a wipe down, make sure there's no old copper washers stuck anywhere. There's a copper washer still on this banjo bolt. Taking it off. New copper washer. So new copper washers on here. $30 foot-pounds for this banjo bolt. We got the bleeder screw, open it up, and we'll hopefully let gravity do the job, and hopefully we'll see some streaming out here. Although the brake fluid cap is not off, sometimes having the cap off will help with all that gravity and pushing fluid and all that stuff. So we'll just let it sit here, and at some point you'll see fluid coming out probably. So I'm going to stop the video, and yeah, and we'll continue on after that. So actually didn't take any time at all. There's some fluid dripping out like you see. Usually you see a little bit of bubbling, bloop, bloop, bloop. Oh, there's a teeny bubble there maybe. So we'll let this bleed for a minute or two just like this, and then we'll have an assistant help us kind of pressure bleed it. So that is replacing your front brake pads, rotors, calipers on your 2006 Chevrolet Aveo. This is an LS, not that it matters, and I'll give you some lug nut specs as well, and we'll show the bleeding and the master cylinder. So here's a master cylinder right here. You're going to check the fluid level. There's a maximum here and a minimum level down here. So just keep an eye on that. I like to suck a little bit out when I'm collapsing the piston so it doesn't overflow. Brake fluid can damage paint, so try to avoid that. So our fluid level is a little high, but we're going to bleed it now. I'm going to have an assistant help. So you're going to push on the brake pedal 3 or 4 times, and they're going to hold the brake pedal down. And you're going to open up the bleeder screw. You're going to have some fluid and hopefully some air come out. Then when it really kind of stops flowing, you can tighten that up. Then they can let up on the brake pedal. And then they pump it 3 or 4 times again, hold it down. You open up the bleeder screw, and they're going to feel the pedal go down while you're opening up the bleeder screw because fluid's flowing out. And you'll see the fluid really stop flowing. Then you can tighten the bleeder screw again. Then they can let up on the pedal, pump it. Hopefully after 2 or 3 times, 4 times, it'll just be flowing pure fluid, which is what you want. And you can verify your fluid level and top it off as needed. Put the cap on and take it for a test drive. Always pump up your brake pedal before you try to move it. Alright, let's bleed brakes with an assistant. We have someone inside holding down on the brakes. I'm gonna open this up, see a little fluid shooting out. Kind of depending how hard they pushes. Go ahead and pump it. How much fluid's gonna flow out. They're pumping. Open it up. See no air. Do it again. Pump it. Oh, there's a shot there maybe. Do it one more time. And pump it. Alright, I think that's pretty good. We'll do the same for the other side. And put the lug nuts on, put the tire on, tighten them in a crisscross pattern. We'll give you the torque spec soon. It's torqued to 88 foot-pounds. Always start all nuts and bolts by hand. Blue torque stick rated to 80 foot-pounds, and we'll use the torque wrench to finish it up.